Twin flames, raw and real.
Real ugly. What?
It's getting real truthful.
Yeah, it's time to be true. And God, I can't talk to you without pretending I'm someone I'm not. How do you even talk? You're someone who wants to know about twin flames, right?
But we don't see you right now. We're just looking at a camera.
Yeah, you're this black hole. But I imagine that you're part of our soul family and that you might have been following us for a little while, or maybe you have stumbled upon this because you're ready to hear our hairy, scary reveal that we're about to share. Jack proposed. And then he unproposed. I'm not wearing the ring anymore.
Last year, last March, I proposed. And now...
Look at my ring. I don't have it.
Yeah.
And it feels really weird. So I've been wearing a self-marriage ring. So you're like, what? How are you twin flame matchmakers if you don't want to get married?
So on the raw and real, it's complicated. I'm a human being. Amanda's a human being. You know, we've built this YouTube channel. We've built a business around it. And it's been beautiful in so many ways. And we've grown so much as individuals.
And as a relationship.
And as a couple.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And I think there was a misalignment somewhere that comes from patterns from the past. And, you know, it's something that we teach about. We all have weird patterns, shitty patterns from our family, from the past, and we have blind spots. And so Jack and I have had a massive blind spot that we want to be really raw and real with you about.
Yeah, we were just processing it in the kitchen this morning, and I just said, you know what? Let's just make a video about this. Let's be really raw and real with people. Let's heal this openly with each other as a community. If you're watching this video and you feel connected with us, you're our community. You're part of this.
We're basically all of us going, what the fuck? How do we create new earth, new paradigm relationships? And a lot of us are trying to create categories of this is twin flame love and all these signs and everything. And they can be helpful to be okay, what's a sign of a healthy relationship? Or, is this, something that I want in my relationship? But I think the problem is we need to create the new paradigm relationships, not force our way into the matrix and try and make it work. Because that's what Jack and I were doing. And that's what that proposal represented on some level.
Yeah. What we've noticed, what I've noticed is, and particularly since the proposal.
Proposal. You put the ring on my toe. It's a toe ring, actually.
Things have potentially gotten less raw and real, and more into the marriage paradigm. There's a whole reality around marriage and parenting in this country.
Yeah,
where we live, and
in the world probably too. If you're in Europe or Australia or Africa, wherever.
Probably, yeah. And I'll take responsibility. I have fallen into these unconscious patterns of just expectations and things if we're getting married and we want to start a family, okay, we got to buy a house. And then it's okay, then we got to, get a mortgage. Okay, how much does that cost? Oh, shit. That's a lot of money to put a down payment on a house in California. It's minimum of $100,000.
Jack's bliss boner.
Down payment.
Once Jack proposed, his bliss boner was he went into becoming this workaholic. And then
angry,
I started angry,
frustrated. We got to hit these numbers every month.
Controlling.
Yeah.
And our magic just was okay, how do we? That's scary.
Mm-hmm. In a way, I became more of the patriarchal masculine, which is not what I wanted.
And how did I show up?
And Amanda, from my perspective, Amanda lost her magic and her bliss and her joy, and she was she turned into a worker bee. I was
not the queen bee anymore.
I was the king, or I don't know. I was the boss. Yeah, I turned into the boss, and then she was my worker. And then she felt probably
I didn't know that.
Pissed at me. And so it's this unconscious agreement started where she was sourcing her value and her self-esteem from pleasing the boss, which was me. And then I was like sourcing my power as like, okay, I gotta like lead this as the man and like look at our finances and like set our goals every month and make sure we're hitting our numbers. Because, you know, if we get a house, we're going to have to like hit these certain numbers every month, or else like we can't start a family, because how are we going to start a family if we can't afford a house?
Right. And Jack would say these things, and I'm like, ooh, he said the word numbers. He knows what he's talking about. Like, my feminine energy over the last few years, I've been teaching women how to manifest with orgasm, be in blissness. And I haven't been as much focused on the masculine, like numbers, mortgage, you know, like all those like data points. For me, it's a whole different side of the brain. And Jack was just so grounded in that. He's really good with it. He wakes up in the morning and goes on stock market and he checks in all these numbers. He's an engineer. And so I think that growing up as a little girl, my brother was really good with numbers, and he ended up scoring like almost perfect on his SAT scores. It turned out actually that I'm good at numbers too, but I never felt like I was. Like, I had like a top SAT score, but I still felt retarded and dumb and not good enough. And so I have this thing where I'm labeling Jack as my superhero, like he knows more than me. And it's just been coming out of a childhood pattern that was not healthy as a child. And it's certainly not working in our relationship to be like, you're my big brother.
Yeah.
Who, you know, and I was just thinking about it last night. Like, something really big in my childhood that happened is my middle finger got broken off when I was 4 years old because my brother had a lot of anger towards me. And I think he didn't like how powerful I was as a little girl. And subconsciously, consciously, whatever, he would sometimes be rough. He would kind of punch me, or he'd do these things because he had a lot of testosterone. He didn't know what to do with all of his masculine energy. And I remember.
Is it okay if we focus less on the stories and more on like what's present?
Yeah.
What's happening?
What's happening? So I realized this last night. I'm like, I went back and I felt the trauma, and I was like, oh my God, I remembered my body, like what it was like to feel so much pain in my finger and how the bone was sticking out and blood all over the place, my parents freaking out. And that's like what our marriage explosion felt like, was just like this, everything is not okay. What is happening? I did it wrong. I'm bad. I'm deserving of this. And so I think we recreated like our core wounds, our sacred wounds, perfectly united in our union, is what I feel.
Yeah, and our core wounds are coming up, and
you're scary.
Okay, and she says I'm scared. Yeah, and there's some shame there. It's like there is a part of me that became angry and frustrated in our relationship. I would say a lot of it was caused by the expectations in our business and our finances. I personally was just focusing like 99% of my energy on just like hitting our numbers and our finances so that we can so that we can even afford like healthcare, and like our teeth have been falling, like our gums have been not doing so well, and we've been having to pay for all these dentist appointments. And
welcome to the Matrix. You're just on the hamster wheel, making money so you can stay alive.
We've been getting stressed out, like
the whole Matrix marriage is just fucking like. There's no way you can win it. Like, we could feel it. There's no way we could win it. Like should we have a $30,000 wedding, like show off to our family, and then we just get divorced? Like, we could feel that energy of like wanting it, but knowing like that's gonna kill us. And I think that we have been going through some big like body stuff, like getting sick.
Yeah. Amanda's been getting really sick the past month.
I haven't been in my feminine, and I miss that. I miss being in my feminine, and it feels so good to have taken. So,
I miss it too.
Jackie,
I miss you being in your feminine. Yeah.
Why don't we update them about what's happened in our relationship since? Like about you going. Well,
the last week.
Yeah, so like 9 days ago or 10 days ago. Yeah.
Okay, so yeah, where do I even start? Okay. Well, we had a breakthrough about 10 days ago where Amanda got really vulnerable. We both got vulnerable, and she basically said, like, you know, I love you so much, and like, if you're not happy in this relationship, like, I think I can let you go and let you be free, even though that would be like the scariest, most painful thing ever. I think I love you enough to let you go. It's kind of like if you love, what is the quote? If you
Something
if
let
you
go.
love a flower,
Oh.
let it go. But if you take the flower, it'll die.
Yeah.
So it's like the attachment to it.
My little girl was so attached to
Yeah.
your flower or whatever.
Right.
I was just clamming on,
Mm-hmm.
and it was unconscious. It's just this little girl in me was so happy to have Jack, and then it dawned on me. I'm like, I'm a woman. Like, yes, if it works out, beautiful, but I need to really be in my power and say it's not okay. Like, it's not okay how our relationship is going. I'm not happy, and he's not happy, and that's like, I got to raise the bar here. And it was terrifying to say that to him. It's like I knew I had to do it.
Can you let me share the story?
Yes, I'm
Are you
sorry.
sure?
I will shut the frick up. And I'll drink my coffee. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah, my inner child doesn't feel heard or seen, and I'm also really excited. So
Okay.
I do
So you
trust
like
you.
to talk when you're okay.
I want to hear you.
You do. Okay. So after that, I had a chat with some of my friends and told them about it, and everyone had kind of their own opinion on our relationship. Honestly, some people were kind of convinced, like in the opinion of like, yeah, Jack, you should probably leave this relationship, and that was like heartbreaking and really hard to look at. But I did, and then coincidentally, I had already planned a trip, a week-long trip.
A bachelor party.
That didn't turn into a bachelor party, but I was trusting the divine flow, and I was like, okay, I'm going to go on this trip alone, and this is going to be like a deep kind of reflection, meditative sort of trip. And so the next week I got a lot of support from friends and family. Each person had their own opinion on, what the best possible next steps would be for me in my life and my relationship. And so I took in a lot of people's opinions on the situation, and then I had to really dive deep within myself. And I was journaling, and I was just meditating every day, thinking about it all the time.
Not talking to me.
Yeah, so I said that we were going to take a week off and just like be alone with ourselves, because I just felt like that was, at least for me, that's deeply what I needed. So I did that. Every day was just kind of a roller coaster of emotions, and I still wasn't sure like what the highest and best thing to do was, and that was a challenge, just not knowing my truth. And so I came back and saw Amanda after 7 days of not talking, and
9 days.
9 days of not talking.
He stayed at a friend's house in an Airbnb for the first 2 days because he was really ready to not talk to me. It's really scary for my inner girl.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And I was aware that Amanda was probably having difficulty with this, but I knew that like she can handle this.
And it was needed.
Like she has a masculine side of her that can step up and like hold space for her.
And I did.
Yeah, and you've really stepped into your power. Like, it was amazing.
It was
it's
like
amazing.
You pushed me off of a cliff into the ocean,
Yeah.
and I like learned to
Yeah.
do it. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And I felt that. I felt that. Yeah. And I knew it was going to be really hard and really challenging. I knew that. But I knew that we needed to step up as individuals.
Yeah.
And in a way, break the codependency pattern.
Yeah, we had that.
And
we probably still will work.
Really, like, be adults.
Yeah. Yeah. Is it okay if I share what I was going through while you were gone?
Mm-hmm.
So he was in Austin, Texas, a place he loves, and talks about his bachelor years there and how many friends he had and all these beautiful places and probably beautiful ladies. And I was like, it's not a good sign if your fiance, when you kind of give him like a push, like, all right, like you got to show up or it's not going to work, and like really think about if you want this. If he's like, all right, I'm going to be gone for, a long time. And you're like, oh shit. It's really like, it could go either way. So I knew the critical state of our relationship, and I imagined it going either way a lot. Like he was going back and forth in the relationship, and I spent the first like half of the week like trying not to go into fear, but like imagining, okay, if he leaves, like, I'm going to go through this heartbreak. It's going to be really hard. I might want to leave the planet. Like, how am I going to leave my women in their blissness? I'm going to be coming from this empty place. They're going to think I'm a hypocrite because I've been talking about twin flame love, and I don't want to let them down. The people that haven't met their twin flame yet, like, I want for them to have it, and then how am I going to ever have it again? Maybe I should just like go off to where my brother lives in Guatemala, raise my brother's, raise my niece and just hide. And it was just like this doom and gloom. And then my experience actually allowed this beautiful opening from that because it was so shaky. I just was like, can't be in this fear. So I started calling in deep love. And I know how to do this. It's like this meditation where I feel the shit, like I feel him leaving me or whatever it is. And then I polarize, just bringing as much love into that. Like, you are so loved. If he leaves you, you are just as lovable. And I surrounded myself in this like blanket, this swaddling of love. And at the same time that happened, because he's been my rock for the last 2.5 years. We've talked every day. We've spent most every day together. To the point of like, yeah, it's probably not very healthy. We need to have more breaks. It was so great to have breaks. This break, it really taught me a lot. But in this horrible time of like my fiance leaving me to maybe never come back, I went through this shit. And women, especially women, messaged me. They called me. I had really good friends just be like, girlfriend, I'm here for you. Like, what do you need? And I didn't even have to ask for support. Like, the only person I asked for support was before it happened. I asked my mom to come down. I just had this feeling like I want to see my mom. She took 3 trains to be here. And the whole week Jack was gone, like 5 or 6 of the days my mom was here, and we did deep healing work. And I think that was part of the karmas. I needed to clear that, some patterns with her so I could show up. But it was hard because Jack, I knew, would walk in the door. Actually, I didn't know. I thought he might just move to Austin and never talk to me again because I have been really badly abandoned by men, like a couple of times, really, really horrifically. And I felt like he might be like, you know what, you're poisonous to me, and just flip. And instead he walked through the door, and it wasn't that.
Mm-hmm. We locked eyes, and we just pretty much, I felt the love pretty quickly and was like, I think you were hesitant to kiss me, but you wanted to, and you're like,
yeah,
you're like, is it okay if we do this?
this?
And we kissed, and yeah, and then we just talked about like what we went through the last week, and got raw and real with each other. And I'd say mainly I've realized that we got stuck in these patterns, these mainstream marriage relationship patterns where like the man takes on all the masculine roles, and then the woman, goes into kind of like the codependent, damsel in distress, or what?
Yeah, just
how do you explain it?
Not in your pussy power. Like I was teaching about pussy power, and I realized like over, especially the last like 3 to 6 months, I've been out of my pussy power. So while Jack was gone, I actually practiced what I teach my clients, which is to masturbate, to meditate with orgasm. And I don't know if you felt the difference, but during this week, I really built up my juice, my feminine energy, and my orgasm. And my yoni has been way more open, not specifically to him, but just open to like source. Mm-hmm. So that was a really important healing. And a big piece that showed up in my process with friends is I haven't been in my full pussy power alignment. I haven't been in my full voice of speaking, and also my soul purpose work. I actually want to be freeing women of their shame, of their yonis. And I haven't been stepping into that because I've been ashamed and afraid of what people will think of me, my family. But my mom just gave me her blessing. She was like, I saw your orgasm video. Good job. Like, and so I'm shedding a lot of shame, and I think Jack is too, so that we could actually be in a relationship and also be on our soul purpose. Because we were trying to paint this picture of an illusion of how perfect things were, or maybe like not that, but maybe trimming out, editing out problems that were coming up or energies.
Yeah.
And so we're really committed to you and sharing our realness,
Mm-hmm.
and we're
More
not going to do
importantly,
that.
we're committed to ourselves and our own realness.
Yeah, yeah,
It's not about other people.
yeah, yeah.
But everyone gets to benefit from that as well.
Yes, yeah,
Mm-hmm.
yeah. Actually,
You see?
when we became real together, we're like, okay, now we can share that. When we were hiding stuff,
Yeah.
we hid it from you guys. And
Mm-hmm.
I think what we need to do is like create these collective agreements of like, it's okay to be not perfect. It's okay to be, be in your shame and we're still going to love you. Or we need to claim that for ourselves. It's okay. Like if you judge us, you think like we're horrible people, like, can we still love ourselves? And
Mm-hmm.
I hope that no one thinks that about me. But if it does, like, and if he leaves, at least it's unwavering self-love.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So we're in a space of decent amount of unknown, and I honestly feel like that's one of the most deepest, truthful places to be because, you know, what is reality? Reality is just is always happening right now, and actually is always changing in every single moment.
Yeah.
And that is unknown. That means every moment is unknown, and so it feels like we're in a deep place of truth right now, and
Processing.
exploration and processing without any attachment to labels or like even the twin flame label or soulmates or marriage or getting engaged.
I'm just kidding.
Amanda is very attached to labels, but I don't want to.
Yeah, I think there's two things going on. One is there's the Matrix, which had like some gems to it, had some truth. But then there's the real truth and feeling into that. And I still, when I feel in the truth, I feel a deep soul connection to you. And I feel a deep desire to build and grow and learn. And maybe that's because I'm the feminine. And maybe it's also because I'm 9 years older than you.
I feel that too.
And like, I feel a desire to have your babies.
I think you feel a desire to have your babies just in general.
No, I thought about it when you were gone, like with other men, and I was like, okay, like I do it, but it's almost weird to like. I mean, maybe if I were to get over you, but
right.
But when I thought about like, oh, like there was this guy on the hiking trail, like there's this big snake, and like I was like, hey, watch out for the snake, and I could tell he was like checking out my kundalini, and he was like looking at the snake, but he was like. I was like, okay, he's probably like a wealthy mountain biker that lives in this neighborhood. Like, I could have a baby daddy tomorrow if I want to call it in. But I was like, I want Jack because I feel a deep soul connection with you, and it's scary to feel that when you don't necessarily feel it as strongly. And I think that as the feminine, I'm feeling deeply. And I'm also really programmed to want to pull in something. But I'm doing this because I think before I was penetrating him with too much energy, and it was just like love rape.
Yeah, and that didn't feel good for me. It didn't. Part of it didn't feel like true love. It felt more like attachment or codependency sticky, like I need this, I need you to have my babies, or like I need you to do this.
It was like a giant parasite.
yeah. So we're kind of stuck in those patterns. So now we're stepping out and reevaluating.
Yeah, I feel like there was a lot of murk, and in the murk, it was kind of like, okay, like we've had this storm. It's like after a tsunami or a flood or something. It's like there's a lot of mess, but there may be some bodies that are alive that we need to rescue and save. So I think there are things that we're figuring out, like what is true. And maybe it'll be like we're meant to be friends, although that's going to be really hard for me because I want to keep having your babies. We had really amazing sex last night. Can you say sex on the internet?
Yes.
Yeah. Well, how would you explain it, that our intimate connection?
Yeah, it was really powerful. I think I stepped into my masculine sexuality, my power more than ever.
He was a man.
With her. And yeah, and she like fully surrendered. It's almost like you had no choice but to surrender, which felt really good because that's what I would crave most, is for her to be fully surrendered in her like watery, feminine, and then I can feel like fully like in my warrior masculine power and just
He's like a scuba diver in my aquarium tank.
okay, yeah,
Can I share one thing about how that was for me?
mm-hmm.
I was like really open and trusting, and just knowing that I had this deep self love. And there was also a part of me that's like, is it safe to love someone who may leave? Because
Yeah,
this is a really tender time. And it is a question that I'm having of like, how much further would I want to engage? But my body, mind, and spirit is saying yes. And so I'm going with that. And there's also a masculine part of me that's saying, well, this wouldn't be okay forever to be in this unknown. So it's only been a day since we made this decision to hold off on the engagement. And it's also a really valuable time that I'm seeing a lot of positive shifts, and I'm feeling more connected to you
yeah.
than I've ever. And it's
Almost
real.
more
It's
than
like,
ever.
yeah, more than ever.
Well, it actually reminds me of how we were in the beginning. You know, the first 6 months or so.
Yeah, but we know each other.
We're in the
better.
unknown, and we were both raw and real, and and just in this dance with the man and woman, masculine, feminine.
Yeah.
And talking about our insecurities and our vulnerabilities on a daily basis, and
Yeah.
being really raw and real.
Yeah, and I just really love you being on camera again. Like, it really means a lot that I have a partner who is willing to try things out. And I know this was uncomfortable for you. Like, you've not wanted to be on video for some time, which is why Jack hasn't really been in the picture, literally. And the fact that you're showing up doing something that you were like, oh, I don't want to do that anymore. I can't do that. And you just tried it because we channeled that, oh, this would be great. Like, I'm really excited to explore this new dimension with you.
Me too.
And with them.
So thank you for watching today. Thank you for being a part of our community. I've realized recently,
we need you. We're doing this together. We're creating this new paradigm together. It's not about two people anymore. It's global. It's a global movement, and none of us really knows what we're doing on our own. And we need to come from deep self-love. That's important. That meditative state, and we need to be really open.
Yeah. We want to hear your comments below the video. We want to open up a conversation, a mastermind, so to speak, of like, where are we headed with relationship? Where are we headed with marriage? Where are we headed with community?
And maybe what did you learn from our sharing in that context? Yeah.
Absolutely. So we have more videos to come. Subscribe to check, our past videos out and our latest videos coming up. We love you. Thank you so much for being a part of this community.
Thank you for being raw and real with us.
Yeah.
Namaste.
Thank you. Namaste.